Hey, what's going on, guys? Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. The saga continues of Michael Chandler's quote-unquote illustrious career, and he continues to embarrass himself over and over and over again. But that's not it for this video. Dustin Poirier went on the MMA Hour today and absolutely humiliated Michael Chandler for his decision to wait for Conor McGregor. And Dustin Poirier left some if and but and what about his contract and kind of left some openings in there to kind of say maybe if I knew his contract situation, maybe it was the right decision for Michael Chandler. And it is the perfect opportunity to break down and discuss what I've been saying for literally years, that Michael Chandler has wasted his career away praying for a red panty night that he may never get. And not only that, we're going to start off with fighter after fighter after fighter humiliating Michael Chandler online. Michael Chandler begging for fights with Islam Makhachev and Nate Diaz. I'm going to explain to you why that is. And the cherry on the top, we have some new reporting regarding the main event of the Sphere. Now, it's not anything official. It's just Ariel Helwani talking with Dustin Poirier. Also, Ariel Helwani asked directly about the main event of the Sphere, and Ariel giving his current opinion on what will main event the Sphere. And I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It does not include Conor McGregor or Michael Chandler, which I made a video 2 days ago now. I think I actually dropped it yesterday, but I made it 2 days ago breaking down the Sphere and why it may end up being a disappointment for a lot of fans who have these grand expectations. Now let's jump right into it. Michael Chandler, I covered this in a previous video, but Michael Chandler tweets out, I've been offered Makhachev in October, but if the notorious MMA little pinky toe is ready by September, let's do the Sphere. Biggest sporting event in history of the sports. Riyadh season. Yeah, I mean, Chandler implying that he was offered a title shot. I do not believe that he was offered a title shot, but he's kind of made himself known on Twitter that, I've been offered a title shot, against Islam Makhachev. The reason he's doing this, and we're going to get to another call out here in a second, he's trying to coax Conor McGregor on to fight him. He knows that Conor McGregor's like, I don't really feel like fighting him. So now Chandler's reached he's already been in utter desperation for over a year. But he's like, this is pathetic. Now he's lying to the fans more and more about what he's been offered or what he's, the discussions going on behind the scenes. He's teasing potential dates. And a lot of people have said time and time again, not as much recently, but over the last year and a half, Joey, you just don't like Michael Chandler. And that's just not the case. This motherfucker is selling you wolf tickets. He's lying to you over and over and over again. Conor's responsible for this too, but he's getting you excited. He's teasing dates. He's guaranteeing it. He's leaving his family in early January for a fight that still hasn't manifested. And he's getting fans excited. And now here he is again, lying about a potential matchup. I've been offered Islam Makhachev. Don't believe it for 1 second. But now he's brought kind of the attention on himself. And he got some attention from Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael dos Anjos says, how much is an opportunity to become world champion worth? For some of us, there is no price on a UFC belt. Mine is certainly not for sale. Chandler should stop saying, quote, see you at the top motivational speeches. It's embarrassing. Now, I'm assuming dos Anjos is what he's saying here is, if Chandler was offered a title shot, which I don't believe he was, I believe that's just nothing but subterfuge, he's going to turn it down to fight a guy who's been out for 3 years, washed up, hasn't gotten a good win in 8 years, instead of a title shot when he says see you at the top all the time. Because that's embarrassing. Like, think about that. This is double embarrassing here. Because not only is he lying that he's saying he got offered a title shot, he's saying he would turn down the title shot so that hopefully Conor McGregor would put him in the north-south position. So dos Anjos calls him out for that. Chandler responds and says, cool story, see you at the top. And dos Anjos says, I've been up there, buddy, because he's been a lightweight champion. Haven't seen you yet. RDA completely embarrassed him. Completely embarrassed him here. Chandler should be ashamed of himself. Islam Makhachev also responded to Chandler's, series of tweets calling him out and this and that. Again, all it is aiming to bring Conor McGregor out, lure Conor McGregor out to fight Chandler. And Makhachev, these guys are just decimating him. Decimating him. You are unreliable, dude. One tweet from your master and you'll run away. Champ needs a real opponent. Basically, I'm not going to fight you. All you need is one tweet from Conor McGregor and you'll run away from the fight to go fight him instead. So Makhachev destroys him. And then Dustin, and we're going to see in the interview from the MMA Hour, he talks about this a little bit. Chandler tweeted out no thanks with quotes and says, retire, man, we good. And I guess that Dustin thought this was about him of some sort, you know, talking about potential retirement. He said, choked your ass out and you haven't fought since. Pipe down, muscle milk Mike. And then he posts some of these things like retired, you know, repost some of these guys saying this and that. A couple other things I want to look at before we get to the interview. Michael Chandler calling out Nate Diaz. Sit down, Ron. Better idea. Me and Nate Diaz fight like real men while Conor sits on his yacht and watches on pay-per-view in his slippers. UFC Noche. Dude is desperately calling out the dead carcass of Nate Diaz, who's over boxing in, you know, whatever promotion against Masvidal. And all this while he's been selling you guys wolf tickets saying, oh, it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen. I guarantee it's going to happen before the end of 2023. I guarantee it's going to happen in June. I guarantee it. Well, he didn't say guarantee the Sphere, but he's been teasing the Sphere quite a bit. But again, he's calling out Nate Diaz because he's scared. He's scared that Conor McGregor's moving on from him. He's scared that he got stood up at the altar. It is a complete and utter humiliation. And we haven't even got to the best part yet. Because he then teases the Sphere again. Chandler versus McGregor is going down September 14th. GIF of the Sphere. Again, we have some more information on the Sphere that we're going to get to in this video, later in the video. And then, this is, I mean, I couldn't even believe this. I thought this was some type of parody. Michael Chandler quoted someone's tweet who said, ain't happening, Conor won't fight in the UFC again. And Chandler said the new, quote, where's Waldo, end quote, the Mac Daddy had a great run. This guy, and Michael Chandler, is now referring to Conor McGregor as the Mac Daddy. I'm not kidding. Think about that. Michael Chandler is so desperate. Now he's calling Conor McGregor Daddy on Twitter. Who knows what kind of videos he's going to start posting next? Maybe he saw Conor McGregor's likes from a year ago. He's going to start posting a video for like that. This dude is calling Conor McGregor Mac Daddy. Cut this man from the organization. Dude's been squatting on his ranking. How is he still ranked number 6? He has 2 wins in the UFC. One's against the dead carcass of Tony Ferguson. And now he's calling another fighter Daddy? The Mac Daddy had a great run. And again, all this is an attempt to lure Conor McGregor out of hiding. That's all it is. Please, Daddy. Please come fight me. Please, Daddy. I've waited 2 years. Please. Embarrassing. And then this is the last tweet from Michael Chandler, or the last relevant tweet from Michael Chandler. Someone said, Mike, what's your strategy against someone like McGregor? Instill fear, let him pull out of the fight, embarrass himself, be known as the guy who retired McGregor without throwing a punch. This is a guy who's starting to come to the realization. I don't think he's going to give up on it yet, but he's really coming to the realization. He said, look, damn, I've been waiting almost 2 years and he's still not fighting me. What am I going to do? So now let's say, oh, I'm retiring him. He's scared of me. About damn time, Chandler. Start talking shit. I mean, really, you should just move on, but at least do something instead of sucking the guy off, brown-nosing him. I'm telling you right now, Michael Chandler could tell you what Conor McGregor had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because his nose is so far up McGregor's ass, and it's not even worth it. That's the worst part. It's not even worth it, which Dustin Poirier breaks down perfectly in his interview with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour. He talks about Michael Chandler waiting around. He talks about potential, how much you would make from a contract for fighting Conor McGregor. But there's an underlying tone here that I want you guys to pick up on, and that is that Dustin Poirier is close to retirement, which I'm sure a lot of you guys knew that. But only one thing is going to keep him from retiring. And what is that one thing? A big fight. And what could possibly be bigger than Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 4? With the narrative, Conor broke his leg. We didn't get to see him finish out the trilogy. It was a doctor stoppage. What could be bigger than that? And we know that Conor McGregor, I mean, he's still salty about getting finished via neck crank against Khabib Nurmagomedov. You don't think he's salty that Dustin Poirier KO'd him at UFC 257? You don't think he's salty that he was getting his ass beat before he broke his leg at UFC 264? He wants his revenge. And Conor has been talking nonstop shit about Dustin. Now, Dustin doesn't indulge it too much, but I'm telling you right now, he's close to retirement. What does he want? He wants a massive payday. What is the biggest payday available to him because he would get pay-per-view points? It would be Conor McGregor. So let's just remember that theme, but we're going to break down a lot of stuff in this interview. Let's start off right away with him hinting at, look, I may retire. My family wants me to retire, but I would fight again for something big.
Like after that fight, I felt like, okay, what else can I do in the sport? How much more do I need to climb? Another title shot. Like, why am I fighting? And then in that moment, I felt like that. And then I go home, weeks pass by, and I'm like, man, I want to do it again. You know, I want to do it again. It's just I don't know. My wife wants me to stop. My daughter wants me to stop, but I know I can beat these guys. That's the problem.
What?
So he wants to retire. His family wants to retire, but he knows he can beat these guys. But let's see what he gets to in a second.
Why do they want you to stop?
They want me to be home. You know, they want me to be into a routine. My wife doesn't want to see me take any more damage.
Right.
My daughter doesn't want me being away, you know. It's just, we'll see. I don't know. I think I'm still on the fence. If something big comes up, that's exciting, that's a big risk, that's worth it, I would probably take it.
What would be bigger than a Conor McGregor fight? Massive paycheck for Dustin Poirier. He didn't wait 2 years, you know, and revolve his entire life around McGregor. He got a title shot. He took on an up-and-comer in BSD and got a big knockout there and got a big paycheck there as well. He already has done everything he's needed to do in the sport. He's already had countless title shots. Why not knock out a guy you've already dominated twice and ride off into the sunset?
But like fighting my way back to the title at 155, I just don't know if, you know, I have 5, 6, whatever run I need to go on to get back to that. I don't know if I have that in me. But 1 training camp or 2 training camps, big fight, I can probably do that. I just want to be excited.
Yeah. No.
So there you go. He just wants to be excited. And guess what? And you'll see later in this interview, I show a few clips. He does not like Conor McGregor at all. Conor McGregor's talked a lot of shit, doesn't like Conor McGregor. That would get him up in the morning. That would get him excited. That would help him, you know, set his family up financially for the future. I mean, he's already set for the most part, has a lot of businesses, already has cashed on multiple Conor McGregor paydays, which he talks about in relation to Michael Chandler waiting on those same paydays that aren't the same by any means, which we're going to break down in this video. Next clip. This is the first clip where he talks about Michael Chandler because of Chandler's tweets. So listen to this.
But something has to make sense for me to do it. You know?
But if you're feeling like this, you know what I mean? Like you're
they put the tweets on the screen, but you'll see Dustin in a second.
You're Muscle Milk Mike. You're going back.
Well, I mean, come on, dude. Look, no thanks. Retire. We good. Who the fuck is we? You just got here, buddy. You're not one of us. You're not we. I've been here. You know.
Right.
Come on, dude. We are good. Who's we? You know, welcome to the UFC, dude. You got 1 win in the UFC.
I guess he's not counting the win over the dead body of Tony Ferguson. So he's saying, like, who's Chandler to even discuss this? Like, dude, you barely even fought in the UFC. You've been sitting around. Embarrassing, humiliating Chandler here.
That pissed you off?
Yeah, bro. He's not one of us. You know, I've been cutting my teeth in the UFC since January of 2011 or 2010, you know. He just got here. Who's we? He's speaking for the lightweight division?
Right.
Dude, Muscle McMike needs to chill.
Facts. Chandler should just shut his mouth at this point. He's getting bodied by everyone. Now, next he's asked about the potential. I think I leave a little bit of the question in here, but he's asked about the potential of like Chandler kind of turning down an Islam fight or Chandler getting an Islam fight and kind of, you know, brushes it off and says like, who has he fought? Like he hasn't even fought since I whooped his ass many years ago.
Yeah.
Michael said that they were talking to him about fighting.
Dude, he hasn't fought since I came out here and whipped him, you know?
So he's basically saying, why would he ever get a title shot? He hasn't fought since I whooped him. I think Ariel was going to finish the question with, he's saying he's teasing an Islam Makhachev title fight, which Ariel knows is total and utter bullshit. That's why he was smiling about it. Next clip. This is actually him talking about Conor, which again could set up a fight with Conor. Kind of starts ragging on him for pulling out with a broken pinky toe.
Oh, it's like I've fought with so much injuries. Like Conor said, he fought with a lot of injuries. He doesn't want to. I've fought with a lot of injuries over the years. But a pinky toe doesn't seem like a reason to pull out of a fight, you know. But I don't know, like giving him his respect, I also don't know the severity of it. Like, did he damage ligaments? Is his muscle in his foot? Or, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on inside of a foot. There's a lot of small bones. So I don't know. If it's just a pinky toe, I think that's kind of, you know, not a reason to pull out of a fight.
So, again, kind of stirring up shit with Conor McGregor, which you know this is going to get Conor McGregor to react at some point in time. May have already reacted. Maybe I just missed it. But that's not the whole point of the video.
Are you surprised that Chandler didn't stay on and fight someone else, or do you understand him waiting?
I mean, he's risking the chance of losing the fight if it ever materializes, you know. But if he goes in there and loses to someone else, do they give him that Conor shot again?
The answer is yes. Most likely they do. Conor will be more willing to fight a Chandler who just got brutally KO'd by someone. Chandler's already coming off a loss 2 years ago. What's it matter if he gets another loss?
Right.
If he takes another fight, does Conor move on and take a different fight as well? You know, the payoff of beating Conor McGregor financially and just for your career is worth the wait. But if you never get it, dude, you're wasting a lot of years and you're not a young man.
Right.
You know.
So he clarifies more of this in a second. But what I want to point out there is something I've been saying for a while. And Dustin Poirier's opinion here is actually skewed a little bit, and we're going to get to this more in a second. But it's worth it, if he beats him. If he beats Conor, it's worth it because, and I don't know how much I want to give here because we're going to hear more from Dustin in a minute. But what I want to beat into your guys' heads, that I've been beating into your head for a year and a half, is Chandler's not worried about getting paid for the fight itself. Okay, he's going to get paid decently for the fight against McGregor. He's not getting pay-per-view points most likely. 99% sure of that. But he's hoping to parlay a win over Conor McGregor with superstardom and becoming a big draw in the UFC and becoming a super notable name, which I do not believe is going to work out for him. It's not the same as Dustin Poirier, which we're going to hear Dustin Poirier reference it in a little bit, and I'll break it down more extensively there. Now, the next clip we're going to take a look at, he starts getting into some of that. He starts getting into some of the contract discussions and, basically, how long would you have waited? I think it's something along those lines. How long would you have waited for McGregor at this point if you were Chandler?
Crazy. And is waiting for this massive payday. And you know what it means to be Conor. You know what happens to you, right?
Yeah.
Again, look, Ariel knows. It's not about the fight itself. It's about what you can parlay it to afterwards. And it's not going to work out for Michael Chandler, even if he gets the fight and even if he wins, at least in my opinion.
Do you continue to wait?
I don't know the way he is. I'm sure he's got intelligent people around him helping him with his deals. I don't know the way his contract's structured, but if it does come...
What Dustin Poirier starts beating around the bush here, if it comes with pay-per-view points, yes, it's worth the wait. He's not getting pay-per-view points.
And it does happen, and he did the right thing on the back end. He's gonna be paid, to set him and his family up.
He's going to get paid on the back end. When do you get paid on the back end? After the pay-per-view numbers come in. Chandler is no more of a draw than a broomstick. Conor McGregor versus a broomstick. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler does the same amount of pay-per-view buys. The UFC is not giving him pay-per-view points. It's not happening.
But if it doesn't, you're wasting a lot of years. And in this game, we get old quick.
And again, even if he was getting pay-per-view points, if you're waiting out for 2 years just to never fight him anyway, it's irrelevant.
You leave for 2 years at 30, I don't know how old he is, 36, 37?
He's in that range.
You leave 2 years, come back, you can look like a different person, but only he knows, him and his family know.
Would you have waited this long?
I don't think so, not 2 years.
No.
Exactly. Why would you sit out for 2 years? 2 years of your career in your late 30s. But let's listen to what he says. He says a little bit more here.
No.
What would you have waited, like a year?
I'd have to be in the position. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah.
After fighting him the second time in Abu Dhabi, and then the way my contract was structured, I would have waited probably. I probably would have waited a year.
The second one was different than the third.
Yeah.
It changed. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Yeah.
Why is there still...
This is... When I heard this clip, this may have not meant much to you. When I heard this clip, I said, I have to do a video on this. I have to do a video on this. So let's listen to that one more time. Let's rewind that back and listen to that one more time. Because that's very, very important, and it might not seem like much. It means a lot here. I'm going to break it all down for you.
I have to be in the position. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah.
After fighting him the second time in Abu Dhabi, and then the way my contract was structured, I would have waited probably. I probably would have waited a year.
The second one was different than the third.
Yeah.
It changed. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Good for you, Dustin. Let me break that down for you. And I've broken this down a year ago, year and a half ago. I've been telling everyone who will listen to me that this is the way it works. The reason fighting Conor is such a big paycheck, and the reason all the champions want to fight Conor is because if you're a champion, you're getting pay-per-view points regardless. If you're not a champion, there's no guarantee that you're getting pay-per-view points. But guess what? If you are a Nate Diaz, if you are a Dustin Poirier, and you go in there against Conor McGregor, and you beat him, and now you have no pay-per-view points, and then Conor desperately wants that rematch against you, you now have leverage. So Dustin Poirier defeated Conor McGregor at UFC 257, which is the Abu Dhabi fight, Defeated him there, TKO'd him there. He had leverage. Conor McGregor desperately wants the trilogy now. So guess what? The UFC said, you know what? You got the win here. You've earned it. We're going to give you pay-per-view points. So now Dustin's saying, well, once I beat him the second time, it changed for the third time. And I would wait for the third fight because he knew how big that rematch was going to be, or in his case, a trilogy. He had the UFC. He had him by the balls. He had leverage. He had pay-per-view points. Conor wanted to fight. And now he's getting this massive paycheck for the third fight. Chandler is not getting any of that. And even if Chandler beats him, I'm not even so sure the UFC is going to book a rematch because Conor McGregor only has 2 fights left on his deal. It's nowhere near the same. Also, when Dustin Poirier beat Conor, it was an entirely different Conor McGregor. It's entirely different. It meant something. It was meaningful. When Nate Diaz beat Conor, it was even more meaningful at the time. It was a massive upset. If Chandler beats Conor, and I can't prove this is just my educated guess here. If Chandler beats Conor, does anyone think that's going to propel Chandler to superstardom? Or everyone's going to be like, holy crap, I can't believe he beat him? No, most people, and rightfully so, are going to be like, oh, well, Conor's rich. Conor's in his late 30s. Conor's been off for 3 years. Conor's coming back from a catastrophic leg injury. Conor isn't motivated. And no one's going to give a rat's ass that Chandler beat him. You know, it'll give him some name value. Maybe he'll get some extra sponsors after the fight. But he's not going to all of a sudden get pay-per-view points afterwards. He's not going to get a rematch with Conor unless it ends in some, you know, kind of controversial fashion. So I'm so glad that Dustin Poirier broke that down there. So it gives me a perfect opportunity to explain to you what I've been saying for literally the last 2 years. Next clip, only a couple more clips we have. He discusses animosity against Conor McGregor and basically could that fight happen? Or actually, I think I'm wrong here. This is the animosity, I believe, against Conor, and then he discusses fighting potentially Chandler again. We'll just look at it and react to it.
But he crossed lines you can't come back from, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animosity against McGregor. Again, I know Dustin Poirier, this is real for him. This could set up a fourth fight. You tell me people don't want to see this? You tell me people don't want to see this? Everyone will want to see this.
And still.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, how do you react internally? How do you
When
when you see the tweets, you know, talking about your family and stuff like that? How do you?
I want to whip his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like you don't
So just for clarity, it had nothing to do with Chandler, just McGregor here.
show it. You don't respond right away. You don't do it. Like you need a minute to chill. Do you?
Because I felt like when he does it, like the other day I saw him say something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what he's trying to bring that out of me. He wants me to like fire back or something. Like I'm just like, go on with my day.
Is it hard?
Yeah, because of course I want to say something right back and try to, you know, set up a fight with him and do, you know, I want to.
Dustin Poirier wants to set up a fight with him. Dana White's here licking his lips. I only got Conor McGregor for 2 more fights before he heads off to Saudi Arabia. What's going to sell more? I want you guys to let me know down in the comments. Truly, what's going to sell more? Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler or Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier 4? Please let me know.
But it is what it is, man.
I feel like he would rather fight you than Chandler at this point.
Yeah.
He makes it a lot more personal with you, and I to a degree, I feel
And we
like
have
that's.
a lot of back and forth over the years, you know,
Right.
since 2014.
Do you think that's possible?
I don't know. No clue.
Ariel said it. Ariel said it. Told you guys. Oh, well, it seems like Conor would be much more interested in fighting you. Conor's not interested in Chandler. Chandler's like some weird groupie that's been following him around for years. He has no interest in fighting Chandler. He pulled out with a broken pinky toe. He strung him along for 2 years. It's a waste of Chandler's time. And of course, you see Dustin. He's like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So on. He would take that fight in a heartbeat. Why wouldn't he? Millions of dollars. He would get pay-per-view points for that fight, unlike Chandler. It'd be a massive fight for him to end out his career. Now, he doesn't want to risk losing to Conor because he doesn't like him. So there's always that. But guess what? That would get him up in the morning. And hell, if McGregor comes back and beats Poirier, there could be a 5th fight. As crazy as that sounds. But that just goes to show you there's other fights for Conor McGregor. The Dustin Poirier fight would be massive for Conor. And it would be massive for the UFC if they're not able to get Conor to a new deal. They're going to squeeze as many pay-per-view buys out of him as possible rather than trying to get him back on the winning track. 2 more clips, I believe, we have left. So the next clip is him actually talking about Chandler getting a title shot here. And also is talking about how big of a draw is Chandler. Because this is something I've been saying for a while too. Chandler believes he's a bigger draw than he actually is.
skipping over Gamrot, Armin, all these other guys, you know, to fight for a belt like he said he was offered to him. Like, that's kind of like, why? You know, I think, but also Chandler thinks he's a bigger draw than he is, I think.
You think?
He definitely does. Chandler thinks he's important. He really does.
So
Yeah.
he's getting up there a little bit.
Good for him.
Would you do that one again? Would that entice you?
Nah.
No.
This is a clip I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier, and I was a little bit confused. He has no interest in fighting Chandler. That's not going to get him up in the morning. He's already beaten him.
Why not? I feel like there's
Why?
something there.
I beat him.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like you want to beat him again.
He's beating himself. He's doing a good job of beating himself.
What do you mean?
Dude, he's wasted 2 years.
Yeah.
Look, you know what this is? I'll tell you right now what this is. And I'm so glad to break this down for you guys in case you missed this. This is Ariel feeling bad for what Conor McGregor has done to Michael Chandler. So he's trying to get Michael Chandler a big fight against Dustin Poirier. Because let's be honest, Dustin Poirier is a big fight. So you could see in Ariel's kind of mannerisms and his facial expressions, he feels bad for Michael Chandler. And he's trying to get him a fight with Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier shuts it down. I've already beat him. He thinks he's a bigger draw than he is. Why would I fight him? He's not a bigger draw than me. That's essentially what he's saying. And he said he's already beat himself. Let's actually watch this again. You know, too bad he doesn't have that on video, him beating himself. Conor would love to like that on Twitter.
Would that entice you?
Nah.
No. Why not? I feel like there's
Why?
something there.
I beat him.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like you want to beat him again.
He's beating himself. He's doing a good job of beating himself.
What do you mean?
Dude, he's wasted 2 years.
Yeah. But it's Conor fight.
Yeah.
And then they get in the contracts here in a second. And I can't wait to break this part down.
Conor said fighting him is 10 times what he would make against anyone else.
If he's making, like, I don't know anything about his contract,
Yeah.
and I don't like to speak on people's money because I have no clue.
Right.
You know, but probably at least 10 times.
If he's getting pay-per-view points. Which, yeah, I don't know about his contract, but yeah, he's probably getting paid 10 times. If he was getting pay-per-view points like Poirier got for the third fight.
So it's kind of, I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, though, then it's a massive blunder.
Dude, it's horrible for him. Yeah. But I think he's got Dana White privilege too. So he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
So there you go. He's got Dana White privilege. He'll be all right. We have 2 more clips because we have one more clip of them discussing this and Ariel kind of dropping some subtle news about the Sphere. And then we have a clip of Ariel directly talking about Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at the Sphere because Chandler's been teasing it to all the fans when we know that Chandler's full of selling wolf tickets for the last 2 years. So we have 2 more clips left. Let's skip ahead here. And by the way, I'll link this full interview down in the description if you guys want to go check it out. In its entirety, I've pulled out all the best clips from this interview. But here he talks about McGregor Chandler potentially at the Sphere. No, it's not going to be, which I did an entire video on the Sphere. I encourage you to go check it out. I'll link it down in the description.
Time frame.
Like a year?
Honestly, around that, yeah. You'll have the surgery. You'll be good to go like January or so. You'll be like fully good to go, right? And then you'll start to get the itch. The division will kind of play itself out. Maybe Conor fights Chandler in December. Hopefully, I think that's what they're looking at. And then, you know,
We'll see.
that's what I feel. Full year.
So he's talking about Dustin's return, but he says Conor versus Chandler in December. I thought he mentioned the Sphere there, but it's not there. It's in the next clip that I'm going to show you. But all of a sudden it went from, and I hate to just beat this dead horse. I really hate to beat this dead horse. Summer 2023, fall 2023, December 2023, UFC 300, UFC 303, the Sphere, now it's December. We're on like the 7th iteration of McGregor Chandler dates. Okay, and who knows how many dates I'm forgetting about at this point. Now, the next clip I want to show you, and the final clip that I want to show you, is Ariel asked directly about the Sphere event. And will it be McGregor versus Chandler? And he says exactly what I've been telling you guys literally for weeks at this point. And more importantly, I reiterated in my video from yesterday.
Ariel, with all the speculation about who's headlining the Sphere, O'Malley, Merab, Max, Ilya, Conor, Chandler, is there any news on who might headline, especially without Chandler hinted at the Sphere date the other day? Thanks, Ariel. No, it's not Conor Chandler. At this point, if I had to put money on Conor Chandler, if I had to, and this is not me reporting it, so don't get all crazy, but the way the wind is blowing at this juncture seems to be December. I don't think they're going to create a date. If I had to, at this second, it changes.
So there you go. I mean, I know he's not reporting it. It's not official. I'm not telling you guys that it is. But what he's hearing behind the scenes is it's looking like If it does even happen, it's going to happen in December. It's not going to happen at the Sphere. And he says a little bit more about the Sphere here.
And then, like I said, O'Malley, Merab, Ilya, Max. It's either one is Sphere, one is Utah. If I had to guess, O'Malley has already said he wants Sphere, and I think it makes a little bit more sense. Merab also ready to fight on that date. So I feel like that's the way the cookie will crumble, but there's no chance Conor Chandler will be out of the Sphere. It's too expensive. The event is too expensive, and Conor commands too much money.
What have I been telling you guys? Let's rewind that. Let's rewind that last 10 seconds, please. Let's check that out one more time.
Fight on that date. So I feel like that's the way the cookie will crumble, but there's no chance Conor Chandler will be out of the Sphere. It's too expensive. The event is too expensive, and Conor commands too much money.
There's no chance that Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler will be at the Sphere. It's going to cost too much money. I told you guys this the other day. I've been telling you guys this for weeks. It's not going to happen. So again, Michael Chandler selling more Wolf tickets over and over and over again. And I'm so glad that Dustin Poirier did this interview. And he even said, and I think I actually, I tried to, kind of consolidate the clips. He said, look, even if I was in Chandler's situation and I was getting pay-per-view points, I would only probably wait a year. I mean, when he said, you heard him say, I know I showed that, when you're up in your 30s, you can come back 2 years later and be a totally different man. So Michael Chandler has straight up ruined his career, wasted 2 years. He's now calling Conor McGregor daddy on Twitter, which is a complete and utter humiliation. And he's probably not even going to get the fight. If he does get it, he's not getting pay-per-view points, and it's not happening to December, and he's telling fans that it's going to happen at the Sphere. It's because he's trying to manifest it. Now, if you guys made it to the end of the video, comment down below, daddy, but also let me know what you think. Do you think Chandler ever fights Conor McGregor? I'm very curious. Does anyone even still believe this anymore? I'll never believe it until they step foot in the cage. I don't care for 24 hours beforehand. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.